Hey, I'm David Cerns, co-CEO with Haley Marketing, and here to talk to you a little bit about strategies for using blogging for sales. So on the line with me, I've got Brad Smith, who is our Chief Strategy Officer. So Brad, let's just jump right in. We're seeing in this market, a lot of companies are trying to find better ways to sell. They're cutting back on things that they're saying aren't driving value, and blogging, we've seen a lot of people cut back on. So in this market, why does writing a blog matter?
Well, I think you really need to do a better job of positioning your staffing company. So if we're seeing a decline in the use of staffing, the only way to maintain or grow is to steal more market share. So how do we go about doing that? We have to have a compelling message. We have to make sure that we're positioned better than other competitors in our market or our industry. We need to build credibility so people trust us. If they're going to switch from a current vendor or if they're going to start using staffing, you really need to prove to them that it is a smart decision and one that doesn't come with a lot of risk. And then we can use blogs and good calls to action and solving specific problems as a way to drive action, as a way to show people that what you provide as a staffing agency can help them solve their biggest current challenges today.
Yeah, I know you were just looking at a company that you were looking at traffic to their request talent page. And I think it was great. They had something like 8 people in a month fill out the form and actually request a job order. But they had 72 people who hit that page and didn't fill out the form. And I know blogging is one of the techniques to keep people more engaged in the site, bring them back, drive them to them. But my related question, people are busy. Does anybody actually read a staffing company's blog?
It depends on your content, right? So what are they looking for? They're looking for answers to problems. So if all you're doing is blogging about how great you are, if all you're doing is sharing resume tips and best practices, probably not. They're probably not going to be reading that content. But if you're thinking about how you can more strategically manage rising workloads, how you can better deal with people that are calling off because they need mental health days, how to proactively hire and get the support you need when you have a hiring freeze. I think those are strategic problems that key decision makers are facing, and they're going to Google, they're going to AI to search for answers. By blogging and how you structure your content and how you answer those key questions, you can improve your rank not only in Google, but in AI iterative search and other places. So you can almost own the answer that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Is if you look at SEO best practices for like the last 15 years, it's been more and more about content and less about just try to own a keyword. And in terms of that content, it's exactly what you just said. Are you answering the questions your clients have about hiring, staffing, workforce management challenges? And if you've got great content, not only are you the Google result, but as AI starts to be the number one result, you can actually have your branded answers, questions, show up in the AI's results. Okay, so I get someone to read a blog. How does a blog actually turn into sales?
I think it's how you structure that blog, right? So I think there's a few different ways. One, just by creating that content and creating a great answer and helping them solve a problem, you are capturing their attention. But then as they're engaged in that blog post, you're captivating interest. Then I think you could have strong calls to action throughout that individual blog post itself. So you don't have to wait till the end. You can have a strong call to action and have people there. You can have a strong call to action at the end. You can have sidebars that direct people or pop-ups that show up that direct people to a request talent page or some other form. Now, that's not to say that every blog visit is going to lead to a form fill. It's not. But if we could have, let's even say a 5% conversion rate, a 2% conversion rate from viewing a blog post over to completing that form, that's going to drive a lot more job orders for you. The other thing that you can do is pair blogging with a remarketing PPC program. So we're using all this great content to attract the right people in your geographic market or industry market that we know have a problem that they're looking to solve. And then we can have remarketing ads, continue to follow them, and continue to keep your brand top of mind.
That's awesome. I know our web development team is actually working on it's called a call to action injector, fancy language for actually being able to put calls to action in the middle of blog posts, because we found is that when you have a good visual call to action integrated with your blogs, it can drive 19% more people taking action from your website. I also want to talk about another way to use blogs in selling, which is to integrate them with the sales process. Because right now it's so hard to stand out if you're picking up the phone or you're doing old school drive-bys and you're trying to get in front of someone. Before the call, I can use blogs to warm the person up. I can email them a link. I can connect on LinkedIn and share content. I can physically mail something out, or I can drop it off. But a blog post, as opposed to a brochure or just a business card, a blog post can be a conversation starter. And even during the call, if issues come up and in my bag of tricks or while I'm on the phone, I can link to a blog post and share that with my prospect, or I can pull something out of my briefcase and leave them a copy of something that educates them about the value of staffing. Now I've gone from staffing vendor to workforce solutions partner because I've demonstrated, hey, I've got something to add value to share. It's not a sales pitch. It's information because our company focuses on helping our clients solve problems. And then my favorite is really after the call, and you're trying to figure out, how do I go back? How do I stay top of mind? So whether you take your blogs and make them into a blog newsletter, or salespeople individually share them following calls based on what was discussed, it's a great way to continue to nurture relationships and create an excuse for a follow-up call.
Go ahead, Brad. Rick, a blog doesn't even have to just be an article. We can think through other things like a case study. Let's say you're continually facing an objection or a challenge that you have in the local market. Let's use that as a way to showcase, 1, what the company's issue was, 2, what your solution was, and 3, what the impact was. And talk about being able to follow up that sales call of a similar company that had the same problem with that case study. That's really going to increase your likelihood of closing that sale and driving gross revenue.
Okay, so if I'm going to invest time or I'm going to outsource blogging, where would I expect to see return on investment?
So where I love the return on investment is a few different ways. 1, top of the funnel. So obviously we're going to use this as a driver to drive more people into your website, into your sales funnel. It can help with search engine optimization and helping you rank higher. Another really effective approach that I like is to take a look at your top competitors in your industry or market. Let's look at what content's actually driving traffic to their website, then let's reverse engineer those topics, create better, higher ranking content, and let's get a bigger piece of the pie, and let's get their traffic over to your website.
Yeah, I love hijacking that traffic because it can cost a lot less than paid advertising.
It sure can, yeah. And then we mentioned earlier the benefit of AI and how people are now using AI. They're using Google's iterative AI search to find answers. If you're not producing high quality content that answers search queries, you're going to begin to see your search engine traffic decline, and you probably already have. So you need to make sure that not only are you blogging consistently, are you adding good quality content consistently, but it answers specific search queries that people are searching for. It addresses specific pain points and specific problems. If you can do that and produce high quality content, you're going to get into those rich results that are getting pulled in by AI and really position yourself as a leading expert that people actually want to work with.
Yeah, and I know when we look at Google Analytics for companies that are regularly blogging, we see a couple of things. Number one is, if you look at the top most visited pages, the homepage is number one. Usually some of their most prevalent, most popular jobs are going to be 2, 3, 4. But then in the top 10, top 20, a lot of those other pages end up being blog posts that are answering very relevant questions for either the clients they're serving or the talent they're placing. Now, how do you get found for all that? Brad, let's kind of wrap this mini webinar up with, what are some strategies for blogging? Whether someone's outsourcing to Haley Marketing or they're doing it on their own, how do they go about implementing a blogging plan?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to think about the voice and the issues that your target audience is facing. So have those conversations. Talk directly with your business development team. See what they're hearing in the field. Talk with your candidates. See what their experience looks like. Talk to them about their biggest challenges, what keeps them up at night, and then begin to build your blog content strategy around that. So we use some great tools here that are a mix of both SEO tools, so we can see related to those topics how people are searching, and very specifically what keywords and what phrases they're using to search. We can see the competitive level of owning those topics or those results, We can see what the search volume is. So we use that data and knowledge to make more educated decisions on what to blog about, what to write about. And then it's writing for the reader, but also thinking about how we're going to rank well for search and AI iterative search. So it's mixing in keywords in the right places. Then it's thinking through that conversion flow and that conversion funnel. We've got a great topic. We're driving traffic to that topic. Now, what can we do within the post itself to get people to take the next step, the next action that we want them to? And that's where those call to actions come in. That's where the CTA injector that you mentioned earlier comes in. And that's where having a blog page or content that is designed and set up appropriately really can help drive people through your conversion funnel.
Yeah, that's great. And the one thing I'll add to it is really thinking through the sales integration as well. If you're thinking about blogs for selling, how's your team going to use it? Are you using it in outbound direct marketing? Are you using it just as an SEO play? Are you using it so you have content to share on social media that drives web traffic? And are you using it before you make a sales call, during the sales call, after the sales call, to help salespeople be more productive? All right, Brad, thanks for the overview. I really appreciate the insights. For everybody watching, if you have questions about blogging, you will find a lot of great resources on HaleyMarketing.com, or feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to share ideas on strategies to improve your blog writing and, more importantly, to help you drive sales with blogging.
Thanks so much, everyone.